Hello, everyone. Sorry, got something caught there. Okay, there we go. Just testing the sound. Sound looks okay. Let's do, and then we'll do this. And hold on one more second. All right, everyone. Good to go. Finally, everything's set up. While people trickle in, I'll let everyone know what the game plan is today if you're new. So this is kind of the weekend review that I like to do every weekend myself anyway. But I end up doing it with a lot of you guys. And essentially the game plan is we go through the markets just from a technical point of view. You can see kind of all of my technical analysis of the markets themselves. From there, I will go through the short videos, the calls from last week and how they worked, how I traded them personally. From there, we'll do some scanning. We trade ideas to find one that we're interested in for the next week. And that will be about it. So we try to do that in about an hour or so. Feel free always to kind of ask questions as time goes on. And, get me, if you want to chat or you want to answer anything, now is certainly the time to do it. With that being said, kind of let's just get into it. So the technical analysis part of it, I'm going to go a little bit quicker through, but it will be longer because this week we got both weekly candles and monthly candles. So I want to go through my whole list on a monthly basis, go through the whole list on a weekly basis, and then go through the whole list on a daily basis. And I do this regardless of when the month closes. I like it better when the month closes on the weekend because it gives me the most amount of time to go through the monthly charts. Sorry. To make sure that I go through everything on the monthly charts, just to give you a big kind of grasp of what's going on in the entire market. And this is something I picked up from JC at All Star Charts that I didn't really do myself before, but now I kind of can't live without it. So, and again, I've got chat over here so I can see you guys. So feel free to ask questions and do whatever you'd like. If there's anything you want me to answer or anything like that as time goes on. So first we're going to start here in, how do I stop that? Hold on. That's my, I don't know why that's going through that at all. Okay. I don't like that. Thunk there. Maybe that will help. That's just I've got cameras all over the place. I'm one of those hermits that live in the woods that just make sure that no one can ever see me without me knowing. Yeah, so we're going to go through this whole list, and then I've got some other things on top here we're going to go through, and then we'll pop over to trade ideas where we're going to do our scanning to figure out what we're going to trade for Monday, and then I leave you guys and I go do that video, and we rinse and repeat weekly there. So, hey, Bill, I see one comment there, so everything must be kind of coming through okay, which is good. So firstly, so this is the watch list that we're going to go through on a monthly basis and then daily and weekly. This one's kind of the most interesting to me. I trade crypto along with stocks, so that's going to be something that's going to be super interesting as well. This is one thing that I've been watching in the crypto world on the mega time frame, is this fact that if you kind of draw out this Fibonacci from the very, very low here to the high and then back, we are in that area already. But then if you zoom in let's get out of here, and then we zoom in a little bit more and run the same kind of Fibonacci extension from here to here. Oh, wrong way. Sorry. From here to here, and then back to here. We're through all of that as well, right? So we're kind of in blue skies here. I don't like the fact that we had this last candle in March kind of close as this doji. So this could be what they call an evening star setup, which is a strong move higher, and then a little tiny indecision doji or something, and then a move lower. And that could be a topping pattern that could take us down. But, this is one of the things that we could get into the 30s and still be totally fine, right? If we went and retested the prior high here at 20 to 25,000, that would just be kind of normal market movement. Not calling for that, but just, again, want to go through and make sure we're looking at all of these. The SPY on a monthly basis, again, nothing to see here other than strength, right? Anyone who's telling you that it's the end of the world or we're overdone, this is why I like looking at monthly charts, right? If we look back in this area, and this is, 2012 to call it 2016, you can see the market can make these really long sustained monthly moves. And then we did it again from 2016 to 2018. And then 2018 to 2020, we got this kind of a choppy mess going on here. So a lot of people, you pundits online and crap like that will say, oh, we are, way too much. This market's been running forever, blah, 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 blah. Well, not really, right? From 2017 to near the end of 2020, we've just been kind of messing about here, right? This whole area is just mess when you sit back and look. And it looks like we only broke out of that mess, 5-6 months ago. So this may be, if you count this area, we may be starting year 2 of a bull market. But if you are just looking at this area and you want to classify kind of all of this as mess, then we've really just started a couple months run. Again, makes me think there's no reason any sane person would bet against this market. But what most people do, I think, is they don't look at long-term charts logarithmically. So things look more insane. When you look at a long-term chart logarithmically, it makes a lot more sense. The difference being that instead of going up at $1 at a time, it's going up percentages. So as the move increases and you're in a more expensive area, it adjusts to kind of make things make sense. And that's about it for the SPY. Looking good there. XLB, most of these are going to have the same kind of look with communications looking well. Energy, this was doing very well, but we've actually come smack dab into this area here. So we've had resistance in through here, and through here, and in through here, and we've hit that. And last month was a star pattern, and this month was another doji. So we got some indecision going on in this area that has happened for a very, very long time. This going back to 2010, again in 2015, and again a little bit shy of that, but in 2018, 19. So this is the area to watch. So I could see, regardless of what happens, I could see XLE being nasty for a while anyway. XLF, we were talking about this the last couple weeks, but we finally got over the 2008 kind of craziness that happened in this market. So we're above there. This month was just a strong bullish candle. Again, pullbacks to test the breakout area would just be normal and healthy. No, sane reason to say, okay, things are going to be crazy going forward. Just another strong month in most of these names. The only chart to me that does look slightly overextended is technology. And I think that's why we've seen, if you look at the last few months, we have a doji and a doji and a doji, and then this one had a topping tail here as well. So maybe we get some more weakness in this, which is something I wanted to talk about in a second, but I will here. So using the trading view here for comparison charts, right? So this is a comparison chart of essentially growth over value. So what I did is I took the what's it actually called? The Russell 2000 growth index over the Russell 2000 value, or vice versa, I forget. Chart I've seen online a little bit. Something that's interesting to me as well is you can see that when trading got rough for most people was kind of right in this area here where it became the top of growth versus value. So you can see as this moves lower, basically value plays are overperforming growth. So boring stocks are overperforming what used to be exciting, right? So when you think value, think utilities, retail, stuff that normally doesn't move, Macy's, Fossil, boring stocks. And we're noticing this in the strength alerts product that Trade Ideas just came out with, where we email you a stock list for $17 a month every week, and you go through those. Ever since that started, was kind of in this area here, where value stocks basically are just beating the crap out of growth stocks. And now we're putting in this kind of sideways chop. So if this continues lower, then you're going to see more of internet stocks, technology stocks taking a hit, and then boring stocks being the thing that carries through. Something I'm going to start way more in my study is these kind of relationship charts. Another one that's interesting is Ethereum over Bitcoin. Basically showing this long base in through here from Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So you can see Ethereum is picking up some insane relative strength over Bitcoin and really has a long way to go to where it was back before. You could take trades off of this as a pairs trader. It's something, again, I love the concept of trading in a pairs nation. I've just never had a way to do it. And basically what I mean by that, in this case, if you think that this breakout is going to continue, you could buy Bitcoin buy Ethereum, short Bitcoin, right? I really wish I could figure out how to turn that off. 1 second. I'm just going to go in and change that. It can't do that. Yeah, so you could trade this. I'm not personally using these analysis to trade. What I'm using the analysis for is to say, hey, I understand that this thing is occurring, and I just want to make sure that I'm trading on the right side of that thing. Where, again, it's very common to go and just look at each individual stock on its own merit. And I think that's fine. I don't think there's anything against that. But what I do think is, What I do think is that it's important to note, right? You always want to be sticking with the leaders. So whichever stock or whichever commodity or in this case crypto is doing the best, well, you can see Ethereum is beating the crap out of Bitcoin, and that value stocks are beating the crap out of growth stocks. And again, that's what we're kind of seeing here with the choppiness that's going on here. Whereas if we look at something like communications, it's just way stronger. So you can get the same kind of information just by looking at the charts individually. It just helps a bit with these comparison charts. I've pinged the guy at TrendSpider, and I've asked Trade Ideas to implement comparison charts. And as soon as I get that, I'm going to start really digging in and playing with them. So that was about it on the monthly time frame. Everything, again, just looks insanely strong. Let's zoom in on the weekly time frame, go back to Bitcoin. So this one kind of broke a little bit lower and then retested. I'm watching this RSI divergence that's going on here on Bitcoin, where you can see we're making higher highs, but then the RSI is pulling back. This is generally just a sign that maybe there's some momentum dying out. And maybe it's going to be time, again, just like we said with the monthly chart, looks like it could be time to look at a pullback. SPY, again, on the weekly chart, we have a star pattern going on here. When I see these indecision candles, they basically just tell me to just wait for whatever the next move is. I don't know what that's going to be, but it's basically saying don't act now, wait for the next candle and then act. If the next candle's lower, maybe we are going to pull back and retest one of these breakout areas, which again would be perfectly healthy in a bullish market. But no reason to just put on the gas. So long term, we were bullish on everything when it came to the monthly chart. On the weekly chart, it's kind of looking like some pullbacks may be coming. XLE on the monthly chart, we noticed this one actually looked the worst, and I expected chop. On the weekly chart, we may actually be getting that chop where we're pulling back down to these prior highs and we're putting in these lows here as well. Notice this blue area, shaded area. This is where I put the charts for going backwards and saying, hey, this was the area that was those lows on the charts, on the monthly chart, that are then the highs now. So it kind of stopped right where it was interesting. And again, the evening star kind of play that I've been looking at and talking about this whole time, you can see right here on XLE, right? We had strong push up, doji, and then a strong push down, and then ever since then we've drifted lower. So it'll be interesting to see. Again, we were watching this right here last week, saying it looks like we pulled back and maybe we're going to get a pop from here. Looks like that's what happened. So now we see if this pop continues or if it's a failed bounce and we're going to sell back off. Note the volume nodes in this area. So if we pull back, maybe 40 is a target. XLF, again, strongest out of a lot of these. We noticed a doji on the SPY, but the XLF has been outperforming. Again, technology looking kind of the weakest of what we've seen on the weekly chart so far. Utilities looking okay. All right, so now we can hit the daily, which will give us the lower term view. Again, I just like to stop after each time frame and say, okay, this is what I figured out, right? So from that last time frame, it looks like energy may have problems on the long term, on the shorter term may be strong. Same with financials look really strong. Technology is starting to look a little weak, which goes back to this chart that we've seen here. If this is going to continue, it generally means technology is going to sell off or chop around, and then your energy, your retail, your banks, this kind of thing will continue to outperform, which is great for the Canadian dollar over the US dollar. As a Canadian, I should be happy about this, but as someone who trades the US markets, so holds a whole bunch of US cash, and when all the consulting and everything I do in the US market, this is a little bit worrisome for me. I like to see as low as possible personally. I don't buy anything from the US, but I get paid from the US kind of thing. So here we are on Bitcoin, and this is more of that RSI divergence that I was talking about here with a strong push up, and then these lower lows continuing down here. So again, maybe still some more momentum to run out. We are right at kind of a high volume area, and big strong push down, and then a choppy move back up. So I wonder if this is what they would call a wave 1 down, and then 1, 2, 3, or ABC up, and then it'd be wave 3, and then ABC up, and then a wave 5 maybe. But that's Elliott stuff, which I haven't studied too much. Hey, for everyone in chat, again, you guys can always ask questions as I'm doing this. The best time for questions is going to be when we're doing the scanning, because that's the most boring part. But let's chat, and as I gotta keep bugging you guys every now and then. Hit the like button, because that will get these shared about. I get a lot of people who may not show up in real time and do this, but they like that I do it anyway, because then they can watch the recording. Because again, if you guys can't make this, you can always go to the recording after the fact, and YouTube uploads it. pretty closely after I'm done. Generally within an hour or so, YouTube will get this up for you guys. SPY is really the only other thing I want to look at on the daily chart, just because, again, talk about evening star setups. We have a strong push up here, a long leg at doji, and then a weekday as well. So to summarize, basically what I see out there is I see a long-term bullish trend that has no reason for anyone to think it's going to be anything other than a long-term bullish trend from a technical side, right? If you're one of those, the sky is falling, and I'm always going to say the sky is falling, and at some point I'm going to be right, you may have your own reasons, political or fundamental or something, but from a pure technical point of view, the longer term setup looks bullish. As we get shorter and shorter and shorter, things don't look as good to me. So it may mean that we're in for some intermediate term or short term weakness, and then to continue possible strength from there. And then I always like to go over to FinBiz, and I like to go into the US sectors, and I want to look at that for the last 5 days just to see what's doing well and what's doing poorly. Again, energy continues to do well. Financials continue to do well. Communications does well. When it comes to XLV, which is healthcare, which is your biotechs and stuff, and XLK, which is technology, which is your Apples and Googles and all this stuff, not doing too well with either of those. So again, everything is just confirming value over growth. So the more boring the stock, the probably better it is right now. So let's pop onto the channel. Let's see the last 5 videos that I have made and see how I traded them. I like to go over this. Let's go from Macy's, which I am still in, not looking great on. The theory behind Macy's was, again, the boring stocks are the stocks that seem to be doing well. So I want to focus on those boring type names, where basically what we're doing is I was trying to look for a break of this area. I actually entered on this green candle right here, and my stop's kind of right under here. So it's a tight stop. And so far we've just kind of been chopping around. I may stop out down here. Maybe I'll do stop out partial here or some here. I don't know. Or I may just stop out all, and then if we go again, just buy back in, but just choppy there. Next one was NOG. NOG was great. Basically just looking for a break of this area right here. I actually entered on the close of this day and got out most right here. I am kind of, even on my swing trades, I'm popping into scalping mode. I'm, get in, take most of your money right away, get out type of a move. So again, just a great little in, out. Can't complain there at all on that one. I still have a tiny little bit, basically just going to trail it under a short-term moving average, but like 1/4 or 5th of my position, I think. Fossil called out kind of in through here. I actually entered this Friday on the close. Same kind of thing we're looking at. Fossil's got a 13% short float. I was looking to see if we could break this and continue. I got to watch out for earnings on May 12th. So, at most, I'm in for this for 2 weeks. But again, more scalps. I'm wrong under this area right here. I'm not going to give it all the way till down here because, again, I'm in mega scalp mode. CGen was the next one. Nothing with CGen yet, although I am still watching over this declining line right here. Basically was looking at this tightening pattern, see if we maybe broke above here and got a move to 10. Nothing happened yet. And then NLS, Nautilus was the last one, same thing. Looked at this one on Thursday, and then on Friday, nothing happened. So still interested if we can get over here. 19% short float's kind of interesting. Maybe one to watch Peloton at the same time. For relationship traders, for people who like to see one stock versus another stock and how those things react. You may want to look at Nautilus and Peloton at the same time. Again, really not too much is going on there. So that's the ones for last week. Kind of hammering through this, which is good. Where's my wave link? That I need to turn that down. All right. Drop that down a bit. There we go. Just putting some music on while I scan. So now the game plan is to scan for what we're looking at for next week. Again, noting what we've already kind of discovered and what we think is going to happen going forward. WPG is one that's interesting to me. This one might be the thing already. Acquisition, blah, blah, blah. Retail properties. Interesting. I really like the kind of rounded bottom look that we're seeing here. So a break of this kind of area right here may push that one higher, cheapy, but definitely something I'm going to just pop here on. I'm going to start doing these so that I can tweet them out. Everything I like, even if it's not going to hit the YouTube channel, I like to tweet about all the kind of honorable mentions. Star is something that's interesting to me as well. I'm going to say this is going to look like number one just because we're getting really tight here. And we have a 19% short float. Things are getting really tight. So if we break over here, you could put a stop right under this area. Maybe the shorts get nervous and start to panic. So I'm going to add that there. So far, that's kind of the most interesting chart I've seen. I do a little bit of scanning. I can't help myself throughout the weekend when I'm a little bit bored. Oh, and I want to just XRP. I'm just in a trade right now, so I just want to keep an eye on Ripple here. Go to the 1 hour chart. You just may see me pop back and forth throughout. A little short. I'm short right on this breakdown right here. So about flat, and I've just got my stop over here, and I'm just targeting down here. I scalp crypto long and short kind of all the time. I have some very basic setups that I use to trade that, and it's not, you're not making millions from it, but it's a nice little side hustle, you could call. JOVX, MEIP. This one's very interesting as well. It's a pharmaceutical company. Resistance in through here became support in through here. And we've pulled back from this high up here of 457, pulled back to kind of the 350, put in a golfing candle Friday, 10% short flowed earnings May 13th, and then a little, short-term bull flag. So I really like the look of this one as well. So I'm going to watch this. Pharmaceutical preparation, you obviously have to be slightly nervous about when it comes to that. Just make sure you understand that anything pharmaceutical, biotech, any related, it's just going to be a little bit riskier. So just make sure that if you're trading those, you understand that there is an increased risk and a risk you can't really manage. So just size yourself accordingly, right? Just when you're buying a biotech, it's always good to say to yourself, what happened if this get cut in half overnight? Would I be incredibly upset that it got cut in half overnight? Well, then I'm probably too big. Now, what you're hoping is over the long run, for the amount of time that, something bad happens with a biotech and they get a big gap down, you also have something good happen kind of in the same frame, in the same note. So over the life of your career, every time something's got gapped down against you, you had something else that gapped up for you. And, net, they kind of even themselves out. Ladder Capital. Okay, so that's just a holding company. Gotta say, the SPACs were fun for a while, and now they're just annoying because they just get in my way when I'm scanning for things. Wow, actually looks interesting. Earnings on the 4th. I was going to say with this one, it's kind of cool that this area of resistance right here is acting as support right here. Obviously a really strong stock. So maybe it's time for this thing to continue higher now that it's done this digestion. But earnings May 4th and Monday is May 3rd. So there's just not enough time to trade that at all. That's another SPAC. I can already tell the way it's just hovering around $10. I don't even need to. Don't even need to look further to know that's a SPAC. And that's why they're starting to annoy me, is because you get all these. I scan for congestion. I scan for stocks that are creating bases, and then I want to play them out of that bases in the direction of the trend based off, all my analysis and other things. And these things that are just chopping around, they just don't help at all. So we're gonna go through the scan as well here. So that's a scan. The one we just went through is one that's basically just looking for tightening patterns. This particular scan is one that looks for kind of bottoming formations. So you could say, right, these kind of big rounded type bottoms. I like these as well for the same reason that you're not really trading with the long-term trend, but if you can get something that, for example, put in a low and then ever since then it's been kind of doing this, well, at least you know that if we break that low, you're wrong. And you're not just catching the falling knife. You're waiting for some buyers to come in and kind of prove to you that there may be some support here. Again, it works better, I find, in the kind of markets we are in right now, which are choppier and I would say harder to trade from a swing trading point of view. So yeah, that's got not very far to the. Jeez. You want the destruction of capital. Look at these things. All right, so what this is a leveraged, 3 times leveraged FANG index. Right, so FANG, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, those kind of guys. But you can just see just destroys money over time. Same with, if you look at the VXX, which again, these things are fine trading instruments, but why the hell would you ever hold that? And if you think the market's going to go down for a few days, you might want to buy some and flip it out a couple days later, but just trading something over the long run that's designed to be an asset like that. See, this is interesting to me. So this is the same kind of pattern I just drew, right? Where I said, if you get something that goes lower and then maybe it does this for a while and then pushes higher, you may get a nice low risk entry knowing that you're not really chasing the lows. Well, if you look at this, right, this thing moved lower and it put in a low right here. And then ever since then, it's been kind of chopping around. So if we break out of this area here, we could push and right, maybe we've gotten this big round bottom behind us. So it might be one of those things that if you get a quick move out of, you scalp some, and then you put out your stop, and you look at it in a month. And if we zoom way out, we can see the kind of significance of where this is going on, right? It was the low here and here, here. Then it was also low in through here. And now we're seeing lows. So there's a lot of support in this area. So I'm definitely going to take a screenshot of that for the Twitters. And then I'm going to set that price alert, but that's a good looking one as well. You can see we've got May 19th is earnings. So you got 2 weeks to get in and get a big enough profit off the table that if you do want to hold in earnings, you could. Or, right, if it doesn't work, you're probably already stopped out by then. And 13% short float is something that's interesting as well. And there's WPG again in 2 scans. So we'll watch that. So we got one more scan to go through. We're going a little quicker today than normal. I know it's going to take a little bit of time to adjust to the new time zone. And this just may be a more inconvenient time for some. Usually we were getting around 30 or so, and we're getting around 7. So definitely hitting like will help out with that, will help me out with that. But again, it just may be that this is just, a worse time zone for people. But mainly, I guess, if anyone wants to know why I started doing these Saturdays instead of Sundays, is because I just can finish everything. I record the video, I edit it, I upload it, I record a bunch of tweets, I have those uploaded as well. But it just means that basically everything you see from me on the internet Sunday is all done today. So I get 1 day a week where I just don't look at anything. I don't even trade crypto. Then if I have positions out, I'll just put out a bunch of orders and walk away. Just important, I think. We all love trading because trading is fun. We all want to get better at it. We want to work hard at it. We want to make a bunch of money. We all want to do this, but it can come at the cost of burnout, right? So make sure you guys are taking the same and hopefully doing the same thing that I am, where you just give yourself 1 day a week where it's just, right, you're not thinking about the markets. PubM is interesting, so I'm going to watch this one as well. I don't think this is going to go, it may go on the list. Holy shit. Look at that. 40% short float. I may want to check that somewhere else. PUBM. PUBM. Let's go and do a price volume chart. And then I think they actually have the ability to add. I'm not super familiar with this one. Add data series. Short. Interest. Percentage of shares outstanding. Okay, so they don't have the data here. Is there just it's just short float data? UBM. Geez, yeah, they even have higher. Okay. This is interesting. This may be the one. I'm going to remove the anchored VWAPs before I take the screenshot. Oops. RSI, add that, and then EMA. We want to make that 8. So that's interesting. So I'm sorry, I'm rambling on this one, but essentially what I'm looking at is, so this is an IPO. It's a recent IPO from here, or a SPAC that converted, or whatever the hell. Finding a lot of support right here. And then we're seeing some lower highs in through here. However, the short float of 40%, I just checked another website. They're saying 45%. Which is just nuts. So days to cover is 7. If you guys don't know what days to cover is, it basically takes how many shares are out there shorted versus how many shares are traded each day. So traded each day, there's 300,000 shares traded. And it's going to take almost 10 days to cover if every trade for a day is a cover of a short. So you're talking 10 days-ish of just buying for all of the shorts to get out. So, right, we could, basically what I would look for is a break of this area, right? You're wrong down here. You want to get in up here. If, for example, we do something like we pull back a little bit more shallow and then break, then you would obviously stop out under that pullback. But if we break this downtrending line right here, things could get going. So this is a very interesting one. I don't know if it's ready to be the video, but that one's very interesting. Blink's just getting super tight. But when I see something like Blink, I'm like, let's remember all of the analysis we've done that value stocks are good and growth stocks suck. So that kind of makes me wonder. SDC, SDC, I guess I'll summarize my trade, because I was talking about last week. I bought in here. I sold out most here. I actually got stopped out pretty much at the low of Friday on the rest. So I'm out of SDC now. But I'll be interesting to see. It's one of those things. If it comes back to 10 and then it looks like it's going to make a move off 10 again, I'll buy 10, right? We're traders. That's all we care about. So this is very interesting as well. 27% short float. What do you guys do? A social marketplace that combines human connection with physical shopping experience. That seems weird. What I'm looking at this is, look at the RSI is climbing where this thing is tanking. So we do have a divergence here. So if we pull back here and we break this area, that might be an interesting one to keep an eye on. For sure. Interesting. So yeah, I'm definitely going to add Posh as well. Go over here and create price alert. And then I'm going to screenshot this, because that's a good one. So far, I think it's going to be Star. I like trading, especially, I don't know if this makes me sound like a pretentious asshole or something, but when I'm giving trades to other guys, I assume that most people that would just see a trade I make and like it and make the trade are going to be newer traders, right? Most super experienced traders may see something and say, that's interesting. I'm going to trade it my way based off the way that I trade. If you're taking something because it's something that I'm saying and you're like, okay, I'm just going to take it like that. Well, the odds are, I guess, that you're a newer type trader. So what I like to do is make sure that I'm promoting safer trades when it comes to, it's why you don't see me talk a lot about penny stocks and low float stocks and stuff like that, is because I want to instill proper trading. So again, it's going to sound dickish, but do as I say, not as I do type thing. So in this case, you're going after a strong stock with a big short float. So we'll see. ASO is very interesting here as well. I know Steve Gomez is watching this one. Super high short float, basing very, very tight. This particular scan, if you're just interested in what's going on here, it's essentially a scan that's just looking for things that are very close to the short-term moving average with a really high short float. So it's a very broad scan that gives me a crap ton of symbols, but it allows me to make sure that it has that thing of the short float going on. Let's go check. Yeah, I just want to keep up on Ripple. It's just chopping around here. Just nothing to be said for it. Again, looking to see if we can get a breakdown to fill this low volume area, and that's probably where I'd cover most. And then see what's going on here and push higher. But Beyond Meat looks like death, right? It looks like it's going to possibly break down here and push lower. 24% short float. So if we show some signs on Beyond Meat, I think things could go interesting. This one looks really good, but look at the earnings, right? That's why I always have earnings date right here, and it's why I love the fact that we color code them. Because before I got too interested in this one, because I really like the look of it. Hey, Omar. Again, ask questions, chat. We're going to probably wrapping up in 15 minutes or so. But this one, again, looks good. However, right, it's, and by looks good, I guess I should always describe that. I like the strong stock that pulls back and kind of puts in this low base and looks like it may continue higher. But again, I'm not going to trade something with only 2 days until earnings, because then I just have to get out of it anyway. And then I've also noticed that things with 2 days until earnings usually have they chop around, right? Because there's a lot of people like me who are just not planning on trading those. Dvax is interesting. So Dvax was one of the TI strength alerts on a breakthrough here, and I took it and I got out most through here. When we came back to this support area right here, I actually bought some. So I'm long a little bit here, and it's been kind of grinding higher ever since. If this is going to be a shallower pullback and it's going to push in, I'll buy more on a break of that. I like the short float. I like the fact that if you zoom out on Dvax, right, we have this big rounded base that's going on here, and it looks like we're at the high of the base. So this is what, classical traditional type traders may call a cup and handle, where you have this big cup and then you've got this handle that's going on right here. So a break of that cup and handle, maybe we get silly and we go try to test this prior resistance at 20. That's a pretty long-term type of view. Play potential head and shoulders going on here. We'll see. We also need to keep in mind that a lot of this is part of the reopening play that's going on right now, right? Here in Canada, things aren't going great, but down there in America, you guys seem to be getting people vaccinated. Things are opening back up. Things are returning to somewhat normalcy. So you got to keep that in mind as well and say, okay, well, how much has the market already priced in that you guys are going to be open? I think the estimates I heard is June, mid-June is when California is just saying back to normal. So keep that in mind. Pets is interesting, or PetQ, just not really enough time until earnings here. I always like strong stocks that pull up and they come back to the short-term moving average. I use the 8 EMA. I don't think there's any benefit. This is mainly a trailing stop for me, is why I have it on my charts. But if it kind of bases in here and gives you that hook pattern higher, it's interesting. But again, earnings. It's very, earnings season is a more of a difficult one to swing trade. So you have to make sure you're being very careful. NLS, I still like it. We talked about this earlier when I went over all of the hashtag shorts or whatever they're called for this week. I like the fact that this one's, just doing this with a 20% short float. If we break over here, maybe we go and retest this. But again, this is already on the list. I'm going to actually just add the price alert back in. I already talked about this one, so I won't really talk about it too much again. Okay. WWE. I heard an interesting fundamental story for WWE, which I thought was interesting, where one guy was trying to say he thinks if NFTs are going to continue to be a thing, I don't even know if they are, I don't know if they're dead yet, but that his logic was that WWE would be a great NFT play for that, like an NFT winner, because you got all these I've never, even when I was a kid, I was never really a wrestling guy, but I know a bunch and they're fanatical about wrestling. And if you could NFT the, like some of the really old school shit, old wrestling matches, and again, I'm not going to know enough to talk about this logically, but it was a really interesting concept of something that I wouldn't have thought of. I wouldn't have thought of World Wrestling Federation as an NFT play, but it was just a very interesting argument for that. And right, could be a cup with a extended handle. We got April 22nd earnings, so we're out of the way on that, and a 20% short float. So I'm going to add this one as well. I'm almost done. Basically, I generally go down this list until I get into the teens and the tens of so many interesting. And this is something else I should note as well. If anyone has been watching these for any length of time, I usually get excited about like 5 stocks, and now I'm getting excited about tons of stocks. Again, this is more of a dip buy type thing, but we have the RSI pushing higher as this thing's pushing lower, and we have it tightening here. Less interested in this one, but just took a moment there to sometimes you can be your own best indicator, right? Sometimes you can be if you, like, for example, I do a lot of scanning of stocks that I think are going to go the next day and that I want my robot to day trade. It's just one of the ways that I day trade. Stocks that are, selling off many, many days in a row, and I think that they're due for a bounce, whatever the logic is. Now, sometimes when I'm scanning and I'm finding nothing on the short side, but tons of stuff on the long side, I will note that as, something that I should pay attention to. What I'm noting is on this one is that I'm finding a lot interesting, right? Right. I'm finding tons of bullish names. Right. And again, I note I'm a handwritten guy. This iPad is my friggin' life. Like everything, I can't live without this friggin' thing. And that's one note that I just wrote on it. It's just tons and tons of bullish names. However, when we were looking at the SPY and we were doing our long-term analysis, we said long-term it looked great. Short-term it looked like it may be choppy. And then when we did our analysis on growth versus value, which if anyone has any more ideas to do these comparison charts on, let me know. I want to build a comparison watch list like this one, which is growth versus value, which we talked about earlier. And we said it looks like value is going to continue to outperform growth. But yet when I'm over here, keep an eye on this too. When I'm over here, I see a lot of names that are super, super interesting. So there's some things that I'm learning in this analysis that are conflicting. And this is another reason why I decided to do these on Saturdays instead of Sundays. A, I want to take Sunday off. I don't want to look at any charts. But B, when I take that day off, I think there's a huge advantage to have, you do all the, like on Sunday or on Saturday, by the time I'm done here, right, all the videos, all my tweets are going to be scheduled, everything's going to be done. But then Sunday, it's because I'm not doing anything and I'm not looking at anything. I've noticed already, even only doing this, 1 or 2 weeks on Saturdays, that sometimes things will start to, clunk together. When it's like that whole thing that if you want to find something, stop looking for it, right? It's you go, oh, screw it, I can't find my keys ever again. I need to go buy new keys. And you buy new keys and you find them the next day. The same thing I find with this is that I'm making all of these notes. I'm writing everything down on a piece of paper, but on next week, I'm not going to be looking at a chart. Or tomorrow, Jesus. I'm not going to be looking at a chart. I'm not going to be doing anything, but these notes may make some things kind of clunk together for Monday's trading. UAVS, kind of interesting here. CCIV, these SPACs are looking like death. KNDI, don't like trading Chinese stocks, no offense. If there's any people from China watching this, I don't think they can on YouTube, but just the reporting isn't the most accurate thing out there. I've just seen too many stocks that look good, like slammed to near zero because of it. So we'll do this until we get under 10%. How about? Triple D, man. 3D printing. Space. I feel bad for so many people here on Space. I know so many people who are in this thing and in the 50s and just thought it was going to be, to the moon. And again, what happened to Space, if you're wondering, is the growth versus value chart that I showed you earlier, is that people are no longer interested in growth stocks anymore. They're more interested in value stocks. So anything that isn't making money is just getting dumped, and anything that does make money is the thing that's getting picked up. Where before, a little bit ago, it was, we will buy growth at any price. I think it was Dennis Dick that kind of coined this, and he's saying, no, what we need is we need growth at a reasonable price, which is kind of the market, more or less the market we're in now. CRNC is interesting here. It's got a lot of resistance here at the $100 mark. Basically just looking and seeing this resistance at 100 and then the rising bottoms that are going on here. So maybe it pulls back and then pops through 100. I'm going to note that as well. Could be one of those things that 11 days to cover. If we look on this one, right, 11 days to cover, that's a lot. So that one may be an interesting one as well. SBH. I'm in SBH, full disclosure. Still looks nice. I'm in SBH off this support area. So when we pull down under that support area and then bounce back up, I'm in kind of somewhere in here. Obviously hasn't done anything for about a week or so. I like the short float. I think things could continue there. Ripple's still not doing anything. These are very short-term trades that I'm taking on crypto, like just to show you. Like Ripple, I bought some here and I was out here, like fully out. And then I bought a little bit more here and then I was out here. And then I bought a little bit more here and then I was out here. And now that we're looking a little bearish, I've shorted here and I took out a little bit here and then I shorted more here. So my average price is still the same, basically playing off this high volume node right here. Stop, worst case up here, but more likely in this area. Just scalping. I find crypto a very good scalping vehicle in which you can get in, take your profit, get out, right? So I'm watching Bitcoin here and just seeing, right, if we break it out of here, I would buy it here and I'd probably be out most right here. And just, again, I just love it as a nice, calm trading vehicle. The way I look at Bitcoin now is, say we do go to 100,000 a coin. That's like a double, and away we go. The question, how's the spread in crypto? Really tight. As long as you're staying to the major pairs and you're on a decent exchange. Again, I use Kraken. I just have other crypto relationships that I don't really talk too much about, but I know some people from there, and they'll give everybody, and not just me, they'll give everybody 5 times leverage. So you could take a $5,000 account and you could leverage that up to $25,000 and you could start scalping crypto, again, assuming you have a decent strategy. I like the fact that it never closes and there's no earnings gaps and there's no halts or anything like this. I can put out my entry order, or I can get into the stock. I can put out a stop loss and a profit target, and then I can just walk away. And when I scalp, same with day trading, equities, I'm more of an all-in, all-out guy. I just want to take my trade. I want to take my money. I want to move out, knowing that in the long run, the real kind of money has to do more with swing trading, right? Because you can hold these things for a length of time. And then, I can trade around. I do have some Bitcoin from years ago, not nearly enough, obviously, but it's a way to trade around that position. Hey, Peter. So we are in the 10% short float. So anyone who just got here, again, I apologize. You can rewind the stream at any time. You can just grab the scrubber and go back. When I'm done, YouTube will upload this pretty much instantly to the internet there. So of all of the ones that we found today, again, we did our analysis in the market, we did analysis in the crypto market, we did our monthly charts, weekly charts, daily charts. We went through all of the videos that we talked about last week, and we have done some of the scanning for this week. So here is the list, and I can actually share these, and I keep forgetting to do them. For trade ideas people, I can actually share 9 price alerts. Okay. Maybe I can't. Let's try this again. Okay. Let's reset trade ideas and try again. Uh-oh. Oh, real. Yeah, real. I'm going to be back in the trading room soon, just because there is something cool that I can't really talk about that trade is going to launch fairly soon. And I'm going to want to see the room's feedback on that. We're going to launch it to the trading room before anyone else. But yeah, I traded a long time. I learned a lot from Real. I traded with him 10 years ago, maybe. Jesus, was it that long ago? Maybe. But yeah, we would hang out on Skype when I would trade, and I was working for the hedge fund, in the hedge fund space, and we would hang out on Skype and we would trade together and just talk about this or that or the other thing. He's a good trader. He really is. He's not. He's a no bullshit kind of guy. And the reason I can tell that is that, oh, there we go. So if you guys are interested in what I'm watching, here it is right here. But the reason I know that is because he's doing the same things that he did back then. The same with me, right? My trading has evolved, but it's, slowly evolved, where People who are just jumping from thing to thing to thing is something that is something to watch out for. However, so what is a star do anyway? It's a REIT. That may not be interesting enough. So now I'm trying to figure out which of these I think I'm going to make the video about. And I think it's going to be Pub with the 40% short float, Pub M. It's very interesting. This is the one that kind of computer design, cloud infrastructure. Okay, so it's not insanely risky either. Why is it so shorted? I don't get that. Anyway, who cares, right? The charts are the charts. So anyway, guys, let's go. My name in the trading room, yeah, well, I'll probably just make it Michael. No, I can change it to whatever I want. It's one of the benefits of the job. But yeah, I'm going to be in there to talk about the new product and to show you guys all of that first. Not new product. It's nothing new you have to do or change. Again, I can't talk too much about it, so I won't. But just basically, there'll be something that you will have access to with your Tradeidea subscription soon that you don't have now that I think is going to be really cool for a lot of people. So again, I'm working on this, which is to say I got to get off my ass and actually work on this. But this is going to be the Stats Edge product. All of the things you'll have access to: private Twitter, my scans, monthly webinars with just you guys, which again, it will be more of like a Zoom thing. You'll come on the mic. We can chat about whatever you want to chat about. A Discord group, or Signal or something. Access to a private Twitter where I'll tweet about things I'm interested in, and trading journal, and that'll be $49 USD. Again, just want to say I'm not abandoning it. I'm still going to do it. And if you're interested, basically just sign up. And anyone will tell you I don't spam you. If you go to my website, statsedgetrading.com, you can see a little email thing right there. And you put in your email there, and basically I email you when this live stream is starting, and I email you when I do a new blog post, which I haven't. Maybe that's something I'll mess away on tomorrow. And then also when the product is launched, the people on that email are going to get first dibs. I'm going to cap it at 100. I really don't think anyone has to worry about not getting in. But if you're on that list, even if it goes a little over 100, I'll let anyone in on it. So sign up there. Again, you can always get my free trading course that I've done with my wife right here. It takes a second to load this page just because there's 36 lessons. This will always be free. So if you're interested on where to get started, before you look to pay for anything, I would highly recommend taking a look at this. And again, I do have a blog. I want to get better at doing this. And then again, what will happen is the blogs will go to the members first and then go to everyone else second. Again, that's going to be kind of the premise of all this, but you can go and read. Again, they're just, both a video that I made and then just a write-up on all of these things. So check all that out. Again, thanks everyone for coming out. Feedback on what you think may be added or changed or something here. You can always email me there as well. So again, thank you everyone for coming out, and I'm going to take off, and everyone enjoy the rest of your weekend.